Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to Novel Idea. My name is Dia, and today I want to talk to you about some classics that I would like to read in 2024. So I've had a really good year reading classics this year. I think I've read close to 50. And some of those are not probably considered classics by a lot of people. Some of them are probably more modern classics, like Labyrinths by Borges or Wise Blood by Flannery O'Connor. So anyway, I just want to talk about what I'm excited about possibly reading this next year. So let's get to it. All right, so the first one that I'm excited about the possibility of is Virgil's The Aeneid. And this actually has eclogues and Georgics in here also, but it's just the Aeneid that I would like to read. And so I'm hopeful to get to this next year. Next, I would like to read, and I don't own it, and I'm really, really hoping that I get it for a gift at Christmas time. And that is Stephanie McCarter's translation of Ovid's Metamorphosis. I will get it for myself if somebody doesn't get it for me, but I'm really hoping that I get it as a gift. So I would like to read that one. I have Emily Dickinson's poetry. This is just a few selections of her poetry. I love Emily Dickinson. I picked this up on one of our trips this last summer, and I would just love to read it. Louisa May Alcott's The Inheritance is another one that I would love to reread. And this is about a family who have raised a girl as their own, and yet she still kind of has the role of a type of servant. She works for them as a companion to their daughter. And there are just a lot of little twists and turns. I'm just really excited to possibly read it again. Kirstin Lavransdatter. My friend Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot read this, I think this last year. Maybe it was the year before. Year before last? I'm not sure it was this past year. I think it was 2022 when she read it. But she just loved it, and it is in a time period that I really love books to be set in. So I'm hopeful that this will be one that I really love. It's very long, and it's actually written in 3 parts. And so I'm hoping to either get a bind up of them or to get the 3 separate ones. We will see what I'm able to do. Then I have John Kennedy Toole, and this is A Confederacy of Dunces. And this is another one I've been wanting to read for a very long time. I don't know anything about it. Most of these I don't know anything about unless I've read them before. But I have not read this one. When I was reading Borges, and also when Tiffany and I read Borges together, and then we also read Posthumous Memoirs of Bras Cubas together by Machado de Assis. And when we read both of those books, they both mentioned Stendhal, and we both found Stendhal's The Red and the Black. And so this is one I will definitely be reading with Tiffany. And I think that we're aiming for this next year. This is a very strange cover, so I'm wondering about the book. It's very odd. Just the placement of that girl and the placement of her hand. And then there's like a guy standing here in his sleeve. Yeah, it's just odd, but anxious to find out what it's about. Then we have du Maurier. I would love to read The King's General. I love this cover, you guys. It is so weird. Look at that guy's hair. Yeah. Anyway, Tiffany and I also will be reading this together, and that is Umberto Eco's Baudalino. Again, not sure that I should be calling this a classic, but it feels like it should be a classic. Maybe it's just his name. Maybe it's just Umberto Eco's name that makes things feel like a classic. Definitely not a classic. So maybe we'll take this one off of the classics list. But this was originally published in 2000, so it's only 23 years old. Not a classic. Then I would also like to read Herodotus The Histories. It's an ancient classic. It's one I don't own, so I'm hoping that I can get it soon. And then I have The Broken Road. This is by Patrick Leigh Fermor. Again, not quite sure this is a classic. 1978, but this is part of his travel series, and I read A Time of Gifts and Between the Woods and the Water. This is The Broken Road. This one is From the Iron Gates to Mount Athos. So I would just really love to get to it. I'm counting this as a classic, even though it's only 50 years old. Tiffany's going to be doing a read-along, reread of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I just brought in a fellowship, but it will be all three of them. So we'll be doing Two Towers and Return of the King also, but this is my copy of Fellowship of the Ring, and I'm very excited to be reading this with a bunch of people. It's going to be so much fun. So I did double check to make sure that this one was older, and this was originally published in 1919. And this is Winesburg, Ohio by Sherwood Anderson. It's not very big. And I picked this up this year, I want to say in one of our travels where we were traveling. It's just a small town slice of life novel, and I'm very excited to get to it. Another reread that I would like to do this year is Crime and Punishment. Dostoyevsky is a favorite author. I think I might be joined by a few more people because I think there are quite a few people that would like to read it. Then another book that I need to find and pick up, but I really want to read it, and that is Utopia by Thomas More. It is a book that I have been wanting to pick up for a very long time, and I'm hopeful that I'll be able to find like a Penguin classic about it so that it'll have footnotes and some different things. It's just a book I've wanted to read for a very long time. So looking forward to that one. Then On the Bummel by Jerome K. Jerome is another one. And this one is going to be with Tiffany and Rainey from Rainy Day Reads, because we read Three Men in a Boat, to say nothing of the dog, this year for Victober. So we decided that we would read the follow-up to that, which is On the Bummel by Jerome K. Jerome. So we'll be reading that in Victober. And so I have a little bit of time to find it. And then I have a Willa Cather. This is one of ours. This is her Pulitzer Prize winning novel. And I have never read this one. I've read quite a bit of Cather, but this one I have never read. And so I'm very much looking forward to getting to this one and seeing if I enjoy it as much, if not more. If you saw my book haul video, then you'll remember that I hauled this. This is Yevgeny Onegin by Alexander Pushkin, and I would really like to read it, whether Courtney joins me or not, but I'm hoping she does because she has read it before and she probably has some great insights. Yevgeny Onegin. I'm going to be able to say it by the time I'm done reading it. If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler by Italo Calvino. If I read this by the end of the year, then I will read one of the other two that I picked up by him for next year. But if I don't, then I'll be reading this one. I don't know anything about them, so I can't tell you anything. I just have heard good things. I think my friend Erin Facer from Erin Facer just read If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler, and I think he enjoyed it. Or another one I would like to read is Nine Coaches Waiting by Mary Stewart, and I'm told this is one of her best. So I'm really looking forward to this. And another one that I'm not sure I should count as a classic, but it was published in 1963, and that is Isa's Ballad by Magda Szabo, and this is translated by George Xerxes. And I don't know anything about it. I just know that I read Abigail earlier this year and I absolutely loved it. So I would like to read more Szabo. Another one, this is going to surprise some people, I think, because I am so not a country western person in any kind of a way. I was raised on a ranch. I grew up riding horses, wearing cowboy boots, listening to country music only because my grandparents made me. And I don't do any of that now. I don't even, my grandparents are gone, so we don't even have the ranch anymore. We don't have horses, we don't have cattle, none of that. But my grandpa loved the author Zane Grey. And I have been wanting to read a Zane Grey kind of in honor of him. And I have chosen to read Riders of the Purple Sage. So, again, not one that is necessarily a classic, but I'm going to call it a classic. And I'm going to try to read Riders of the Purple Sage. Again, I don't know what it's about. Another one that I would like to read that I do not own is The Hidden Hand. This is by Eden Southworth, and I've been hearing lots about Eden Southworth, and so I just really want to try some of her work. So even if it isn't The Hidden Hand, I would like to read something by her. And those I know are classics because those were written way long ago. A Southworth novel, an Eden Southworth novel is what I would like to read. I would also like to read Mornings at 7 by Eric Malpass. I heard about from Amy at Hearthridge, and I am just really looking forward to this book. It sounds very sweet. Sounds also kind of slice of life, and I just would love to read it. So another one is 21 Balloons. This is actually a children's classic, or a middle grade. It's not one that my kids read in school, and so I've never read it, and I would love to. So it is by Dubois. I'm gonna say Dubois. We'll see. I don't know anything about it really. Tarzan and the Jewels of Opar. I have been reading through these with Dave and Olive from Book Blather, and this is the next book, and I have not picked up a copy of it yet, and my library does not own it, and I looked in another library system and they do not own it, so I really do have to buy this one. So the last two that I have are God's Smuggler by Brother Andrew. This is a true story of a Dutch boy during Nazi Germany, and just the story of what he accomplishes in his life in succession to the war, and it is fabulous. It's such a good story, and so I'm just really excited to do a reread of God's Smuggler. Lastly, I have Aesop's Fables, and I have not read these really since grade school, so need to do it. I've read one here and one there, but need to settle down, read them through, enjoy them. So that is the last of the classics that I would like to read. Hey everyone, Editing Dia. I just wanted to say I forgot a classic that I would really like to read. I had plans to read it this year. I don't think I'm gonna get to it. And so, there's Louis. I would also like to read Gabrielle Roy's The Tin Flute. So I do have plans to read that this next year as well, and I forgot to mention it. So, putting that in here. What are you guys looking forward to reading in 2024? Are any of these on your list as well? And I would love to know also if there's one that you would like to join in and read along with. So let me know. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. I will see you again very soon in another video. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to. Bye.